Tommy, they're actually reached. We're back again. So what I have to do is take off this old gasket. So I've shoved in white paper there into the exhaust and inlet ports, and we can get scratching. It's boring enough. I usually try and scratch the heavy of it off, and I can kind of hit them whenever I need them. With the Dremel is ideal, and I have the workshop kind of hoover there then to hoover out any bits of gas, any stuff that goes into the exhaust ports. They're well stuffed there, so there shouldn't be anything left in them after I clean them out. I'm also going to just polish the inlet ports on this because as I showed in the last video, it looks like there was probably too much oil in the air cleaner, and she's after sucking in a fair suck into the inlet manifold. I'm starting to think I might use my spare inlet manifold on this tractor that I have there, because it's shot blasted and cleaned properly, so the tractor should run a lot cleaner with a clean inlet manifold to start with, and the right level of oil in the air cleaner. I haven't even looked in the air cleaners yet, but there's definitely a lot of oil. You saw probably in the last video. Put my finger in. I noticed that as soon as I took off the throttle Venturi as well, that things were unusually oily, so it's not ideal for that. And the heater plug even was covered in oil that was in it as well, so that's not great. And that burning the oil in, it's not exactly going to help the engine start. Mind you, I think when these are tuned up well, tuned up properly, they shouldn't really need heater plug, you know, most of the time. I've never used them really on the 220 diesels I have. And let's be honest, our winters and our cold weather just aren't the same as they used to be as well. They're not as cold. You know, there's no frost out this way. It's very seldom now you have a frosty morning out here. You know, that's beside the sea and all, but I think even in general, I think frosty weather and cold weather is, I won't say it's a thing of the past now, but it's not as, temperatures are up with this global warming and all that. If you want to believe global warming that's causing it or not, that's up to yourself, but I'm only saying what I notice anyway. Temperatures are steady enough now, and they're not that cold in general. Back in the day, alright. Winters, even frost from October, I suppose. A better day for the next day, alright, but definitely cold nights. You can definitely see there's a good bit of oil there hanging around. So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, the other inlet manifold is just the way to go. And I'll clean the one that's off this then. Taking time and looking for something to do some evening, I'll clean it up. As I said, there's very little that goes wrong with the inlet manifolds because they're aluminium. They don't rust. I am going to speak a little bit about the heater plug as well, and the inlet manifold, because the heater plug gets its earth through the inlet manifold, and the only two places it can get its earth from here and there. And then you have people painting inlet manifolds, right? And then they put on their nut and their washer, and then all of a sudden the earth comes through this stud into the nut, and it can't really pass through the paint of the inlet manifold, so your heater plug starts only getting fed a very small amount of power. So that's why I don't mind using that. I prefer to use the inlet manifold that I have up there because it's been shot blasted, and I know that the paint is all cleaned off where it's going to be getting its earth. That's important, because if this still ends up being hard enough tractor to start, because of low compression, at least we're getting the heater plug working fully, full amount of current over it. And I'm going to put on the gas tank, and I have a pipe there made that will feed that heater plug. The heater plug in this is from a 35 4-cylinder. So when she heats up, it allows fuel through the element, and then it burns it. So okay, that's actually cleaning up fairly well. So a dart and a Dremel, and now we'll finish that. So we'll just get over the Dremel and see how it goes. I might even try and use the big drill, the big electric drill, to get to the places that I can get to handy, and then just use the Dremel for around the studs. Right, so we have the wire brush on here. I've shoved 2 bits of white paper into each of these. I find it's always the safest. One ball of white paper in first, and another smaller one in front of it. I find just seems to be the safest way of stopping that and going in, and then the hoover, then the workshop hoover running along then. So it should be making sure that nothing goes in anyway. Spotting something interesting there. This stud here has fine thread on it, and the rest of them are coarse, so that's interesting. I did think one of them was a little bit different. If I wanted to be fussy, I could take all of them out, but to be honest with you, the only way I find it's a bit time consuming putting on 2 nuts and all of that. So I'll just clean around them now with put a different head on the drill there, and we might just get in around those shorter manifold studs in it. The kind of circular head on this kind of lad here. I might just clean things before I hit it with the Dremel. might have very, very little to do with the Dremel. That's after cleaning up lovely. But still, we'll hit it there with the Dremel just to clean a little bit in around there. Probably won't make a difference with the gasket and all that, but probably wasting me time. But yeah, I'll get the Dremel, we'll see if it makes any difference. No, I shouldn't have said I'm probably wasting my time. There's no such thing as wasting your time when you're trying to do things right. I've already found a few issues there on this that we could easily have overlooked, only for we're trying to do things right. Okay, so where do we see needed another bit there of work? I saw somewhere there. Needed a bit. Oh yeah, there. I can't hit him with the drill because this is too long. Just a bit of gasket left there. That's lovely. Final step of this is to hit it with a sandpaper to find what that does is just helps gasket and the Indian head that I'm going to put on just kind of stick a little bit better, you know. Just makes it look rougher. Okay, lovely, lovely, all good. Yeah, that's it. I thought that was going to take a little bit even longer now, in fairness. I'm happy with that. So we'll pull out them bits of paper there and we'll have a look inside and see what we can do. So again, small wire brush, and I'm just going to try and hoover this kind of slightly brush out. So put it in at the top without pushing it in, and then suck it all out, brush it out. You see the likes of that now coming out. It's so it might look as bad there in the video, but I can tell you this much: it's very rotten. I think what we might do there is just for the inlets here, try just with a bit of degreaser. Try not to push in. And loosely just push it in and then grip, pull out. I think it's probably going to be the best for it. Like an inlet should never be like that, like, you know, when you're meant to draw air, like. Then I'll hit them on a bit of white paper. just for exhaust, that's fine, you see. These bloody inlets, you feel it. It's rotten oil in them. So I didn't have this running very long. I only had it, any time I was running, it was basically, well, I was in the video, so just that once. I don't really take too much heed of what people say if the yoke is hard to start. I just kind of prefer to go through everything in my own order. And after I've done everything, it should improve. Unless this engine is just really low on compression and it needs new pistons and new rings and doors and all that, fair enough. But as far as just trying to work with what I have here, I suppose it's the reason why I'm kind of going into a bit of detail here, because that's the instructions from the owner. Try and work with what you have. So it's starting to feel a lot better there now. It's still a lot of deep kind of that real gungy, greasy oil. Feel it actually. Layer after layer of it. This stuff will cut through it, because this is, whatever stuff is in it is fantastic at removing grease. Probably just take a few goes. Well, at least we only have 4 ports to be worried about. Exhaust ports you don't have to be worried about. All they're doing is letting out a bit of such, you know. What's going into the engine I'm more worried about. This is just going to cake up your exhaust, you know. Sorry, your valves, I should say. Especially this thing had no thermostat in it as well. Sure, you can imagine things just weren't burning hot enough or running hot enough to burn off this carbon and stuff. Say if I lifted the cylinder head now, there'd be a lot of gunge in around the combustion chambers. Still a bit in there, so I'll just try and get a bit of the white paper now and just see what's it looking like on the way out. I don't mind it being a little bit dirty. I most certainly wasn't happy with that amount of gunge in it. Ah, yeah, that's starting to feel a bit better. I didn't expect it to come out spotless, of course, but just to get most of it out. Yeah, I think that's what we'll call that one anyway. Okay, yeah, it was a bit of a dirty job now, but sometimes it is good to poke the finger into the inlet and see what the hell is in there. Right, I have one thing to do, I think, I remember from yesterday. I think I have my, oh yeah, I have to take off a nut off a stud, because this was the one stud now that was stopping your inlet coming off, an exhaust stud. Because the stud came out itself yesterday, I just gave it a bit of a loosen off there. So I want to put him back in. So that's the side that goes in, so we'll just have to clean him up a little bit with the wire brush, make sure he goes in easy enough, and we'll put him back into the head. Now, I suppose it is coarse thread. The chances of putting 2 of these bios on is fairly low. There's one coarse thread, I think. nut, so that's okay. So we can put him on. I was trying to turn this into a lock. I do have a fair tub load of nuts, but I think most of them are fucking fine thread. I just want to free up these threads a bit because that was half the issue. Yeah. I might just chance. I'll have a look for another one of them, and if I can find coarse thread one, I'll use that to run it in, and we'll see how we get on. There we go. That didn't take long. There's one there right beside me in the tray. So hopefully this now will run that in, and then I should be able to take off both of the nuts, and that will make life that little bit easier. Okay, and we've one more stud below that came out as well, down there. So I think, isn't that interesting now? This is not the right nut, as I probably mentioned that yesterday. But it is coarse thread and it is a nut and it'll do the trick. So we'll put it back on. It's not going to make any difference. It'll do the job. Okay, so that's that. Loosening there. So tighten him up again there. Okay, that's actually gone in. That's in the whole way. That's a lot easier than I thought. And that's coming out as well. Job oxo. That's okay. Okay, brilliant. Let's have a look now for the other stud there and come back. May as well get that in there as well. I'm going to make a quick gasket for this Venturi. This is one that I got overhauled. There's no wear in it at all. See the shape starting to show up that we need to. That's the best thing, is keep it pulled away. Okay. I'll keep things still now. I'll just get this hole lined up. Okay, that's cut out. Now. Alright, a little bit awkward, and I'll show you why now in a minute. It's not exactly what you call like a normal flange because of the casting. So what we'll have to do is just take a rough line around where we think needs to be. Yeah, and we kind of have to just make our own little line because the cast in there, and let it just kind of join up. roughly where it needs to be. And that lad there, you snag him out. Roughly there. Poke out the little circular lads there. The reason why it's a little bit different is because of all of this. So you just kind of guess. So quick roll on the sand block. Give it a bit of a clean. This was flattened. Carry that dirt off with it. Help our Indian head to get a grip of it. That will be more than good enough because this is thick gasket paper. Okay, so that'll do the trick nicely. If that way it was there, that's going to do the trick nicely. So that is our Venturi. So there's no play at all in the shaft, just there. That's a little click here and there, but as far as there goes, solid. It's lovely. Nice bit of work done on that. We're going to use my other intake manifold. It's all nicely cleaned up. All the flanges are cleaned up. And we can mount the Venturi on this here because it'll be easier to bolt it in place, I think. Am I right in saying that? Well, of course it's going to be easier than putting it in the tractor anyway. So we'll get our Indian head well sealed. It's going to need very little of it because that gasket's a lovely intake. So it will not be a problem with that at all. Just a little helping of it. Now, put this on. I think it's this way it's meant to be. No, we'll put our Indian head on here. Shouldn't be touching this with my finger because it's hard to get off. This is way overkill putting this on, but this is a pneumatically governed engine, so it basically means it's governed by air through this. So we're just being extra careful, I think. That's what we'll call it. Okay. And there we go. I'm just going to go now and get the nuts for that. I think they were left over the other bench now. I'll come back and we'll put this on. There we go. There is the nuts back on. You actually have to pull out the flange to clear in there to put your nut on. So it's very like the carburetor on the Ferguson 20 TVO and the Ferguson 35 there. So that's okay. It's a little bit of a thread sticking out there, it's no bother. Can't get a socket in there, so you just take your time really. But it's definitely easier putting it on here compared to on the tractor. Definitely a good idea using this inlet manifold. It's going to be saving a lot of time because that other one's just too full of oil for my liking. I'm not happy with, and it's going to be fairly hard to clean out, to be honest with you. It's I'll give you a look at it here. Let's get a torch. I'll show you what I can see anyway. Some of them are fairly grubby. It'll be a job now for another day, I think. before I fit it, I'll just give it a blow out with an air gun just in case there's any dust and stuff started getting into it there while it was up on the shelf. That's going to be good, I think. Yeah, so I'm just going to give it a blow out and we'll come back and see what's next for doing. I may as well put some Indian head on here. Give it a quick rub of sandpaper as well, off camera, just to roughen it up a little bit. You do not normally need Indian head here, but I'm just going to put this a little smear of it just around the very outside, just to help with a bit of a ring of a seal on it there. Will do no harm in the world. These engines don't run hot enough. It's not as if this is going to be smouldering and smoking and stuff because it's burning. Like, what's the thermostat? I think it's set to 82 degrees. You know, yes, all right, it was working fairly hard. The exhaust is obviously not going to be 82 degrees. It could be a lot hotter, but I think it's fair to say now it's definitely shouldn't be burning this stuff anyway. Just a little smear that when I squeeze the gasket on it and tighten it up, that it'll just put a little layer of it on first. Okay, so on top of that I have new gaskets here. There's two of them in there, and then that one goes in the middle. So that's what we're going to fit in next, and then we'll be ready to fit this and my exhaust manifold. I'm going to take it down and just have a quick look over, make sure everything's good, blow it out, make sure that the face there that's going on the cylinder head is flat, so I might just put it on the sander block there as well. A little bit of surface rust on it here and there. Let's take off that U-bend actually. Let's give that a blow out. That's no bother at all. This was all shop blasted, so it's only just a bit of surface rust on it. And I flattened it fairly well before, so we'll put it in the vise and just give it a final, literally just sand off the surface rust on it. Remember spending a good while flattening this. Give it a blow out then with the air gun. Really good nick. And remember, this is only exhaust manifold, so if there is a few little bits and pieces in it, all it's going to do is blow it out the exhaust. It's not going into the engine. There's a lovely thick gasket on it there. So it would be A1, and I spent a good while flattening this, I can tell you. Definitely going to be good. It's definitely going to be A1. Lovely, so let's whip off that U-bend there quickly, check and see if I put a new gasket on or not. If not, I have a new gasket there. A little bit smaller on the socket there. Half-inch do. The nuts coming off, that's ideal. Remember getting them off. I'll put on better nuts on this. These are a little bit worn. have her looking right. Just a little bit worn. What I mean by that is just see a bit of weather. It's kind of taking its toll on it, so that's all right. There's a good few spare ones. There's no gasket on that at all. What there is, the original gasket. So what I'll do is give that a dart of the drill. We'll put on a new one. Pull off that old metal gasket. Dart of the drill. Really good nick. There's no blow-bys there, I can tell you that. Okay, so gaskets. Right. Should have new gasket in the gasket box. Get this sorted. Yeah. And a new gasket. That should be a new gasket. Lovely and thick. Perfect fit. That's what I want. So when I get that fitted, I'm just going to do a tidy up here on the bench because it's getting to the point. It's getting to the point where now, yeah, I need a bit of a tidy up. So I'll tidy that up and we'll get this fitted. Right, so new gasket. I picked out 2 spring washers there. That's what this needs. And I picked out 2 better nuts as well because they were fairly shagged. So put them on. Hopefully they're going okay. So far so good. Some of these be welded and everything, so it's nice when you can actually see, yeah, nuts on them, good square nuts going on them, you know. You can hear the gasket getting squeezed there. Lovely. This was flattened as well. I had all that done. Sometimes when I'm looking for something to do, I'll clean up these parts, you know, and I'll have them ready to go, you know. Thankfully, after paying off in here, because we have a nice tasty job, and what was on before was they came loose anyway. That's the main thing, but that's good and solid, and that's ready to go. Our intake manifold's ready to go as well. We have our Indian head on, so I'll go and fit the gaskets to the manifolds actually, is what I'll do, and we should be ready to fit these. And we have our Venturi on as well. So we'll have to get this lad onto the Venturi. They can be a right pain in the arse as well. Sometimes, and other times they can be grand. So let's get these manifolds fitted. I like to just put a bit of Indian head on the intake because the intake is always cool. So it's not as if it's going to go burning it off and smouldering and all of that. May as well make sure that engine's getting the right amount of air, and that's going to be mixing with the right amount of fuel. and that should it'll all play its part for the minute it takes. So put a smear of it on. It means it'll always come off easier. Then if you take it off, you'll actually probably be able to reuse these new gaskets that I have on there, because this won't bind with the stick to the gasket. It won't go hard. It'll stay gloopy, especially on a cool part like this. If this has to come off again, your gasket will be won't tear, we'll say. That's what I meant to say. Right, brilliant. So let's get these lined up. And when ready to push on, I'll hit record, because it'll be a bit awkward before then. I'll need to try and balance both of them between the two hands. That's them. You kind of have to put the inlet on first, and then you kind of have to put that manifold, that exhaust manifold in kind of behind it there. So just get one or two of these lined up, sitting on in place. I have my tray of spring washers if we need any more of them. Some of them are a little bit awkward, not a whole lot of space in behind there. You have to kind of get them between two fingers and just get them twisting on, and then you're grand, you're away. Job, you need the old diesel tank off for this job. A little bit tight for space here and there, but sure, we can kind of pull the manifolds out a bit if we have to. Once you get one or two nuts holding them on. I know there's something I have to remember here now. Something to do with the studs and the inlet. I think we're tightening up the exhaust, I think, first, because it'll leave with no space for the inlet. I'm thinking, I'm trying to, something's just reminding me about something. I could be wrong. So we'll just have a look at the inlet there. Get one of the, yes, you have more space when you have the exhaust manifold loose, because you can pull it out. So that's all that was. Wouldn't have made a whole lot of difference, but still, it's just another little tip, I suppose. Yeah, there's a lot more space now to work with then. Probably hard to get a socket on, we will. And that was the tip, so that's the damn sight quicker than spanning it. Will it be as lucky on this side? Probably not. No. Still. There's two of them holding on the inlet anyway. I had this inlet manifold polished up there as well off camera, just where it where these are bolting in against, so that it makes a good earth for our heater plug, because our heater plug gets earth through it. So just a tip, I mentioned it, I just didn't show it. Thick rubber sandpaper, all it takes. And the back of the nut, same thing, run it on sandpaper, and you're good to go. She will get full whack now going to the heater plug. Because when you think of it, the rest of it's all gasket, so that's not going to get any electricity at all. Okay, that's enough for that. So now it's just going to be a matter of putting on the rest of the nuts. This one has a stud, but it's the very bottom one, and we have space to work with the socket in there anyway, so it doesn't matter that the stud came out. Spring washer of each one as well is important. Stop things loosening off. Not they probably would loosen off, but at the same time, let's just I was considering painting this, but to be honest with you, I find painting these sometimes it just doesn't pay off at all. It just ends up flaking off and looking terrible. Another spring. I think we missed one spring washer. I'll put that on there. This was the strange stud with the fine thread. That's okay. We'll do the same trick. Lovely. So I'll give you a look at that since you're back out of the way a bit. So I just have to do up these 1, 2, 3 in there. We have to put our throttle rod on. That'll involve pushing that down to where it needs to be. And what's happening there? That's fully closed. So that's fully open. Oh yeah, it's meant to go on the back there, so I have to put in one of them. Didn't notice that. That's okay. I have a spare one there, and then that should line up with that. Hopefully, all going well. Yeah, lovely. That's going to line up nicely, fairly nicely anyway. I hope. Should do. That'll be full throttle, and that's exactly the way that's what it's meant to be. Full throttle. Our throttle lever's right back, so we might have to make a little adjustment this just to shorten it a bit to get that lined up perfectly. Seems to be a little bit long, and won't take much, so I might actually just start spraying him, because I might start spraying him wherever my spray is gone. Of course, I probably should have done this before I put it on, but look, probably should have checked that. Well, it's no big deal. It's accessible enough anyway. Should be easy enough to do. So maybe we will have a go at loosening him off. If I'm not mistaken, we're talking in around about an 8mm, so I'll get the spanners and come back. I don't check this earlier on, but you know, that's sort of loosening off there nicely. So just sort of hope now that this end will will shorten a bit. That's all. It's getting a bit tight for space in there. No, it's not. Happy and moving. So we might have to take it off the other end, put it in the vise, free it up. I think it's the only option there now. So we've got the lock nut loosened. It doesn't look to be welded, at least. Definitely is a bit too. A second now. Definitely is a bit too long. Fit in there. Yep, that's okay. We'll have a go at that, but in the meantime, we'll not worry about that. We'll just spanner up these and have this much done. Might just actually now, to be honest with you, finish at this. At least this video will have been all about the manifolds, so we can call it the inlet and exhaust manifolds, and then we can do the next one on the throttle rods, and we'll take it on from then and see where that leads us. But, I'm enjoying the work on it now, I have to say. I hope there'll be an improvement when it comes to firing it up and running. I'm sure there'll be a few leaks here and there that I'll be scramming around the place trying to tighten stuff up, or I've forgotten to do something, but that's all part of it as well. The diesel tank, at least, that tap is still bone dry, so I'm very happy with that, and everything is facing the right direction for the connection with the fuel pipe and for the actual tap itself. It's meant to be facing straight out, and that's exactly the way it is, so I couldn't be happier with that. And all the parts of a governor on the back of the fuel pump are after coming apart, no bother at all. They're all flathead screwdriver heads, and they could have snapped or anything. So really do have no complaints now. Everything is fairly standard issue kind of stuff. You kind of run into with these issues with these tractors. Like, seem to be on tall lump. I'm lucky enough now, I have to say. So that's them all in. I was going to try and give them a little final nip now with the close the end of the ring end of the spanner. Yeah. And this one is not enough space there for the ring on that, so we'll just keep going the way we are. Or 9/16. Yeah. Lovely. Okay, is that it? We've one more down the bottom here, and we are one spring washer short. So there's the spring washer, and there's the nut. So we'll fire him on. That should be job done. That should be job done. The manifolds. We'll see then about working on that throttle rod. See if we can get him to play ball. Shorten him a little bit. The reason why, if I don't shorten him, this yoke won't rev out very as far as it should now. So, I think this was the one that was slightly strange as well. Slightly bigger. 15 there. Nails tight enough on it. Yeah. And lower. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Quickly checking this again. Yep, I'll have to still go a bit. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Right, so that's manifolds. There's a few parts to go on them, heater plugs and stuff like that. Valves. Everything's good and solid there. So I think we'll leave it there for this evening, and we'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to start working on some of these throttle rods. I have some like that one in there, sitting there fairly loosely. That's one I overhauled myself. The one that was on it, I think, is damaged, cracked. So yeah, leave it there for this evening. So catch you again in the next one.